Welcome today. We will be starting in just a few minutes. Well, less than a few minutes. We're just going to allow a few more people to join the room. Thank you. Great. Thank you very much. Beth, and I'm just going to get started just in the interest of time. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for your interest in Leadership Waterloo Region and for choosing to spend this beautiful lunch hour with us, sat in front of your computer. Wow, that's some dedication. I was just out with my dog and it is beautiful outside. I'd just like to start today by acknowledging that the land to which we are broadcasting today and to which the offices for Leadership Waterloo Region sit is land traditionally used by the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and Neutral people. I also acknowledge the enduring presence and deep traditional knowledge, laws, and philosophies of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today. As part of my personal journey, as well as our journey with Leadership Waterloo Region, we continue to learn more about truth and reconciliation and look for ways not only to continue learning, but to teach others and lead by example. So thank you so much. Next slide, please, Bethan. So a little bit of an agenda. We're going to look at some of the alumni perspectives. So we have Paige and Tahira here joining us today, so you can hear firsthand what it was like. We're going to talk about the core program, what is it, all the details around that. We're going to talk about the tuition and bursaries and how to apply. So when we go on to the next slide, housekeeping, just keep your audio on mute. Choose your view, speaker versus gallery. You can use the chat feature for questions or discussion. Now, if you have a question you want to ask at any time, I'm great with that. Just use the raise your hand function under the reactions button that you have on the bottom. And Bethan and I will both be monitoring that. Stick around to the end because that's when all the good stuff comes out, because after you have all the information, that's when you get your questions. We are recording this session just in case someone who registered isn't able to join us. We'll make sure they get that. And then there will be a follow-up email that will come out after this session. Bethan, can I ask you just to say hello quickly because you're not on the slide?
Hello.
Okay, so you've all been in touch with Bethan. Bethan Llewellyn is our Director of Marketing and Communications for Leadership Waterloo Region. And she is the chief organizer and makes all things branded. So you have heard from Bethan and you'll continue to hear from Bethan for follow-up. But really of our mighty team of 2 full-time and we have 3 contract, it'll either be Bethan or I that you really speak to. So any questions, we're both happy to answer. Who am I? Most of you met me, Diane Wiles. I'm the CEO of Leadership Waterloo Region, but I am an alumnus. I went through the program in 2002. Yes, that was 20 years ago. But I really found the whole experience to be life-changing. I learned so much about myself. I learned that I didn't need to know anything, everything rather. I could surround myself with people who were experts in areas. And I also learned to trust my instincts, which is something that I didn't always do before. So we'll go on to the next slide. Who are we? Well, our mission. In 2018, our board of directors started this journey of restructuring and looking forward to what the organization was going to look like. And the board came up with these mission, vision, values, and they really speak to who we are. So we encourage, empower, and equip current and future leaders to unleash positive change in their communities. To build vibrant, resilient, and inclusive communities is our vision. And our values are, we believe in enjoying the journey, pursuing diversity, pushing our limits, doing the right thing, challenging, connecting, collaborating, making a difference every day, and diving deep. So this is what Leadership Waterloo Region stands for. We truly are a service to the community. We don't exist without issues in the community needing people to solve them. So we are here to offer that service of teaching leadership training and providing opportunities for people to, and we'll get more into it, learn about the systems and see how they can make a difference. Next slide, please. 5 things leaders like you need to know about Leadership Waterloo Region. Well, our last survey is a little bit outdated, but we showed that at the time, our 430 grads were working on more than 400 boards and committees in our community. So that speaks volumes to the type of people who go through the program or people who want to get things done. We now have 488 grads, and I can't wait to pass that 500 mark this year. We have offered 9 nonprofit leader series sessions. So what this is an opportunity for nonprofits to learn. We didn't charge for these sessions and we don't. And when our community has an issue we need to address, we call the nonprofits together to hold a meeting. So we've partnered with folks like Capacity Canada, KPMG, really talked about, what's available in the community for nonprofits when it comes to COVID, for instance, government funding, subsidies, that sort of thing. Also looking at governance issues. What did COVID mean to our nonprofit board of directors and how do people deal with that? So there was 9 sessions. We addressed everything from asset-based community development right up to mental health. And as issues continue to surface, we'll offer that. We do have a visionary speaker series. Last year we relaunched it and we had inspiring leaders like the Right Honorable David Johnson come and speak to us. So each year we look at an area where an individual can come and we can have a deep discussion with them and have takeaways and learn. We have access to more than 200 expert facilitators. Last year we had 47 teach in the program. I teach some of the pieces. Bethan teaches a couple of the pieces as well, but it's really important to us that we work with people who are doing the work right now. So if someone's had an issue and they're willing to talk about it, they will be teaching in the program. If somebody has some life learning that they want to impart, those are folks that we work with as well. So what do we look at for the core program? So we really built the core program based on 4 pillars. So if we could go. So a community understanding, you really need to understand what Waterloo Region has to offer. Who's here? Who are the players? How do the systems work? What is this community understanding? Relationship building is key. It's through networking and through understanding who people are and what they do, but a holistic approach of who people are, right? It's important that to have well-being, we know all of a person. So we learn a lot about relationship building. Collaborative leadership. Again, I always say we're here as a service, but we don't want to duplicate anyone's efforts. So that collaborative, if I remember hearing a professor from Alabama telling me at a fundraising conference, he said to me, well, if you saw a cow in a ditch, you wouldn't be pulling it out by yourself. He said, you need other people to help you get that cow out of the ditch. And I always think of that yes, the more people that can help me get the cow out of the ditch, the better we're going to be. So we really learn those collaborations and learning how to leverage that. And community readiness. So you have to be learning what's relevant. You have to be in touch with your strengths, not some skill you want to learn 10 years from now. It's connecting what we need with what you have and being ready to go out. So those are the pillars to which we write the program, we bring facilitators in, from the textbooks we choose to the podcasts. It's all part of these 4 pillars. So when I talk about, and I'm sorry if some of you had heard this before, but when I talk about Leadership Waterloo Region. I talk about it in four different areas, but if you can imagine all of these areas happen at once. So the first is leadership skills. So when you come in, you're going to go through this journey of learning your values, your dominant emotions. You're going to learn governance. You're going to look at collaboration, leading a meeting. You're going on a truth and reconciliation journey. We write the program through the lens of diversity, but what does that even mean? And how can we keep building on that? Everything from conflict resolution to mediation are all areas of that leadership. So it's a long, long list of leadership styles and all the different key aspects. Now, we don't touch on things once, we thread it throughout the program. So if you imagine these four things happening over 10 months, no problem, Bethan. I'm not worried about the slides jumping. The next piece we learn about is systems, right? What are systems? What is healthcare? What about, government, the school boards? How does this all tie together? Education. One thing that we will never take for granted is we have access to systems and systems leads. So throughout your journey, you will have the opportunity to interview, work with, be taught by leads in our systems. So if you understand how things work and how they piece together, and when things work well, it's because multiple systems are working well together, right? None of them work independently of each other. So it's a learning that we thread throughout the year. The third part truly is experiential. So I want you to see something you can't unsee, to meet somebody who just imparts some of their wisdom or gives you that feeling that you can do more. For you to be able to go to an agency and meet an individual that if you were to join that organization, you can make a difference. So this is the experiential part of this. We've done many things for experiential. One was a judicial tour. So we went behind the scenes at police headquarters. So we did tactical, major crime, 911. We did what is that? The K9 unit. And then we got on a bus and we went down to the courthouse. And through an upstream approach, we spoke to a judge, a prosecutor, and a Crown attorney about the system. So how do they stop, people from reoffending? How do they help individuals who are going through the system seek different supports in the communities that they need to be able to move out of that cycle? We then had a tour where we could, see holding and learn about the jury system and understand how that whole system works. We then spent time with Chris Cowie learning about community justice initiatives and restorative justice. So what does that look like in our community? And it was started in Elmira, if you can imagine. So there's a lot of roots there. We then moved on to the Grand Valley Institute for Women, which is the largest federal female facility, penitentiary in Canada. And not only did we spend time with the leaders and the warden and others that work there, we spent time with the women who live there and who are serving their time, and through some of the Indigenous programming and learning about that whole upstream approach of, education and belonging and trying to stop that recidivism of going back through the cycle. So we've spent time at the Cambridge Islamic Center, hosted us last month with our tea and tail ladies coming in from the Coalition of Muslim Women, where Tahira's on the board. Congratulations on your new appointment, Tahira. And we were able to firsthand, meet people. It's all about relationships. Remember I said that before? So you get to meet people and hear their stories. We go out in the community and do, we've had Indigenous teaching, we've had ceremony, we've been smudged, we've done drum circles. So there's all sorts of ways that we allow, that's not a good word, how we encourage and invite our class to participate in community firsthand. So the last part is this wonderful relationship we have with the Waterloo Institute for Social Innovation and Resilience and Wellbeing Waterloo Region. So WISER, which is the UW arm, because it is a mouthful, WISER, it has a solution lab. So they are a solution lab that looks at community problems, and they look at these community issues or problems through the word, like a mathematical term. They're wicked problems, so there really isn't a solution. So when we joined forces in 2018 with WISER, we said, you know, we really think we can make a difference having the whole class concentrate on one project, but we're not in the business of identifying what the issues in the community are. And that's when we joined forces with Wellbeing Waterloo Region, because they have a really, they've done a really good job at not only identifying, but understanding and deploying resources to different issues in the community. And that's where that partnership comes in. So we said, you know, we think if the class worked on affordable housing, we could really do a deep dive over the next few years. So through the systems lab approach, we have really looked at the idea discovery. So it's organic. People hear from others in the affordable housing space. And when I talk about affordable housing here, we're looking at all the issues that are there for affordable housing. So we're looking at mental health, addiction, poverty, homelessness, new Canadians, seniors, job loss, divorce, old stock or no stock, old policy, the cost of living, all those factors that make the need for more affordable housing. So through bringing community together and having community affordable housing groups where we're able to discuss in our class interviewing, they decide what they want to research, right? So then the class decides this is really important to me. And they organically start to break off into groups because they'll find folks in their class that have some of the same interests. So through research and interviews, they're able to assess the problem and start to develop the solutions. So it really is through system mapping, the prototyping and solution development, it really is like systems 501 is what I would say about the course. So once the prototypes are brought forward, the solutions are presented to the community. And many of our solutions have had traction. When I look at the tiny homes, and that really wasn't something that was as prevalent when we started doing this in 2019, actually studying, and all these different areas within affordable housing have come to the surface. And this year we're looking forward to the solutions being presented to the public again. So next year will, you know, likely be our last year in affordable housing. So we're looking forward to a really exciting learning with the university. So if you could see my method, you know, the method in our madness, we look at, you know who you are and your skills, is you've learned your leadership skills. And secondly, you understand the system. So you know how to insert yourself. Because thirdly, you've seen something you're passionate about. And when you understand how the systems work and how to map your way through that, you're going to want to volunteer. So we go to the next slide. So the core program at a glance. Well, we follow the school year, September to June. We have 8 full leadership days. We also have 2 half-day World Cafes. That's where you get to meet the community members. We have an orientation in late August, an opening retreat, which is a Friday and Saturday in September, a closing retreat, which is 2 days in June. This year it's the 7th and 8th. And there's some additional out of class time preparing for your leadership days. There's homework. We want you to come prepared. We have textbooks. We try to be respectful of time so we don't pile it. We try to make sure it's sort of spaced out. Sometimes you'll have a movie to watch. Sometimes you'll have podcasts, blogs, articles. We also use a Slack channel where we're able to share all of our information together. So if somebody knows of an opportunity in the community or is interested in an article that they read and sharing it, we're able to learn that way. So next slide, please. Oh, Mike is asking what happens if you cannot attend a particular leadership. Thank you, Mike. We have our dates are already on the web for 2023. So of course we ask you to protect those days and try not to plan, but life happens. We understand that. So there's key teachings that we can record. And then you have your classmates that you're able to follow up with after class. And of course, Bethan and I are always here to answer questions as well. So it's just, again, you have to sometimes work to catch up. Did I answer your question okay? Mike here. So tuition is $4,800 for the year. Thanks, Mike. And that includes your food, your facilitators, your textbooks, everything that you need in the program. There's a $100 application fee that you pay upfront. And we're such a small nonprofit that really pays for everything our volunteers need, all the administration of accepting all the applications and going through. So that's what that is for. Bursaries, we truly believe no leader left behind. Bursaries are available. I went through on a bursary myself in 2001 when I started the program. I mean, I had a $200 a year development budget. So this was a little bit out of our budget at United Way at the time. So it was really, bursaries are very important to me. So we try to get creative. We look for bursary support. We ask corporate partners, we ask funders all over the place if they're willing to support. The application, oh, sorry, I'm just trying to read this. So 2 came up. No, there isn't a nonprofit discount. I was asked here. But what we do is thanks, Dennis. We take it as part of the bursary application. So if your nonprofit absolutely can't pay the full $4,800, what can they pay? And you apply for the difference. And we see how that works. But there isn't. Our applications, for some reason, always seem to work out a third, we say. So a third from government, public service, a third from industry, and a third from nonprofits. So if you look at that, cross-sectional learning is just priceless to learn from different people in the community. So now I get to go, this is my favorite part. I get to introduce you to 2 former classmates who are now alumni and friends, Paige Monck-Whipp from Wellbeing Waterloo Region, who is a graduate of the class of 2020. So she had to do half of her year, four classes online because of COVID. We managed to get through. And Dr. Tahira Bilal, who is with Canadian Health and Safety Foundation. Tahira, you did 100% of your time on Zoom. So, you know, I'll let you hear from both of them. And Paige, would you like to kick it off?
Sure. Thanks, Diane. Hi, everyone. My name is Paige Monck-Whipp. My pronouns are they or she. And as Diane said, I was a graduate of the class of 2020. I now work as a network catalyst, which is part of the backbone team with Wellbeing Waterloo Region. I love this program, so I'm a bit biased maybe in what I'm sharing because it was such a fantastic time. But I think my favorite part was how holistic the program was. So like Diane said, you're looking at systems thinking, you're kind of creating those connections all across the region. I'm connecting to people not only in my sector, but across the region, and learning about those organizations and community leaders. We had a lunch panel with the mayors and with the regional chair at one point, just building those relationships and increasing that that kind of governance understanding. And all of this is grounded in kind of our holistic project around affordable housing. But that self-reflection piece and that learning about our own biases, our own why, why we're doing this, what matters to us, and our curiosity really allows to kind of live in integrity with your values as you're learning this and as you're going through this, to be the type of leader that you want to be in the region and the type of leader that you want to have in the region. You're doing all of this with your classmates who we just formed such great relationships with. So everything was really practical, but it brought us back to that self and system. And it really, I think for me, emphasized that there's no individual solutions to these systemic problems, to big wicked problems, but as individual actors, we can make a difference because we can make up and influence the systems. So it's simple, but it's complex, but it just gives you the tools to be part of that. And the program really avoided siloing and kind of tokenizing by saying, this week we're learning about this thing and that's separate from that. It was all very intersectional, I'd say. We did a learning exercise at one point, I remember, with a Haudenosaunee educator at the Islamic Center of Cambridge as we were talking about affordable housing. And that exercise was really powerful and brought people to tears. And I think that was about midway through the program, and it was a safe space for us to be vulnerable with each other. So I think it's a really amazing program. I think one thing to be aware of is the commitment to making sure that you are making the most of everything that's available to you through this program. So at the time of this program, I was working full-time in another role. I was on shift work. I was working 12-hour night shifts at times. I was also finishing my master's. So just for kicks, I decided to take this on, and I have no regrets about that for sure. But it is a time commitment. There is homework. So I had to schedule time to do the readings, to prepare for the leadership days, because otherwise it would just, get lost in the shuffle. But as long as you can kind of keep prepared and stay on top of that, like Diane says, the dates are laid out in advance, so you kind of know what's coming up. Bethan's amazing about sending out everything you need to do in advance, so you can keep track of it. And I just wanted to share that, since graduating, the relationships have been so valuable. Probably my favorite part of this whole program. And like Diane said, that's my favorite new expression now. You can't get the cow out of the ditch yourself. So knowing who you can call when there's a cow in the ditch has just been really invaluable. So I've got the network with my class, people that I could call anytime who I just feel really bonded with because we've been through that. But the network extends beyond the class because I just met Dr. Bilal at an event the other week, and that was just immediately something that we could talk about. It's like, oh, hey, you've been through this program, I've been through this program, and just another incentive to connect with such awesome people. And as we finish up the program, Diane asked us to pick one word that kind of, encapsulated what we had taken from the program or what it meant to us. And my word was emboldened. And really, it's been that boldness to be myself in spaces that might not feel like they're for me, and really show up as myself in those spaces and feel like I have the right to be there. So since graduating, I joined the board of the KW Multicultural Center. And I don't know that I would have really felt like a board role was for me without this program. And I also joined the backbone staff team, as I mentioned, with Wellbeing Waterloo Region. So, and yes, I remember my word. It was very meaningful to me. So I'm so happy that I've had the opportunity to be part of this project. I really, I want to shout out Diane and Bethan, who are just such supportive, caring people who really believe in this and are so supportive as we go through. And I would just say for anyone who's interested, I think it's so great to see how many people on the call today. Ask the questions. Like now, I think both Diane and Bethan are open books. Tahira and I can answer any questions as well if you've got them specifically. And just be willing to go all in and be vulnerable and be really willing to get to know yourself and the community, because you'll be pushed to do that, but it's really deeply worth it coming out the other side. So thanks.
Wow, thank you, Paige. I, like Bethan, am so I'm happy you remembered your word. That's another thing. There's so many different emotions. We really try to use the different words for our emotions instead of the go-to happy or pissed off. There's like so many emotions that we try to use. So, and I actually feel really flattered that you took the time throughout doing your master's and working shift work to just make yourself so vulnerable and give yourself to the community. So thank you for that. Tahira, I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tahira. and I'm a graduate of Leadership Waterloo class of 2021. And I think already Paige has told a lot of things about Leadership Waterloo. But when first I started this program, I was really confused and I didn't know what to expect out of it. But believe me, it turned out to be really exciting and informational, like good program for me. And my favorite thing was connecting and meeting with new people and making more connections. Although it was the time of pandemic, all our classes were on Zoom. So literally we were just doing all this thing on every month we were just on Zoom. But our leaders, Diane and Patton, they used to send us out in the breakout rooms so that we should know each other. We got to know each other. And then we also so that we don't miss out anything from our class. And I think attending this, and everyone was so supportive and they were so helpful. Like I had any challenges, if I had any problems, they were there always to help me. Now, attending this program has also helped me personally. So, like I didn't have that in-depth knowledge about the problems that our community is facing, and our project for the class was the affordable housing, like what are the problems that the people are facing. And Paige has already told you about the details about the project for affordable housing. And also, not only that, I also learned about the qualities of a great leader, and not only the leadership, but also followership. That was something new for me because before this program, I didn't know anything about followership. Also, I learned a lot about like indigenous people and what were the atrocities that were being committed on them. And we were also taught to start, if we want to do any business or anything, we should always start with why. So why is very important, why I am doing this thing. Now, at this moment, I'm really excited and I'm really so happy to share with you guys that after completing my program, that program gave me that courage and confidence to start my own business. So that was, the credit goes to Leadership Waterloo. So now I have my own first aid and CPR training company by the name of Canadian Health and Safety Education. We are also training partners with Canadian Red Cross. And the good thing is that not only our leaders, Diane and Bethan, they helped me. Believe me, the whole class, all of my class fellows, whoever I try to reach out, like we had a diverse class, and I believe every year it's a diverse class. So I had class fellows from City of Waterloo, City of Kitchener, I had from Chamber of Commerce, I had class fellows from police, I had from real estate, and all of them, they, even now, it is just my new business, and it's on the road to success, and they are like helping me in every way for my business to succeed. They're just supporting me. So I would say that my advice for all of you is that don't be afraid, don't sit back, just come out of your comfort zone and do the new venture. And yeah, you shouldn't be afraid to make new connections, to meet new people. And it is a really great experience, and it's a really great opportunity for people with different like backgrounds and different experiences to come together and do something beneficial and meaningful for their community. So I would advise all of you to just join this program, because you can see from my own experience now, I am a businesswoman. And thank you so much. And like, if you have any questions, I am more than happy to answer that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tahira, and congratulations. Like, to see that transformation throughout the year, and then knowing you were starting your own company, and the relationships, like you had a very special class that was very supportive. And when you say diverse, I mean people, I think the age, people often ask me, what's the right age to take the course? And we say it's about a stage in your life. And I think you just had that groove with all the folks in your class and to support you. So thank you for sharing. Excellent. Wow. So how do you apply? It's all online this year. we need an employer commitment declaration form your employer has to fill out because you will be missing work. So if you don't have an employer, you're self-employed, or you're coming from an organization that you don't work for, like a volunteer organization, we don't need that, obviously. But this is if you are working for somebody that has to give you up for so many days, we need that. The bursary applications are separate from the core program funding. So please, if you're looking for bursary, either some assistance or full assistance for the program, we can look at that. We also have we try to make it so everyone can. So if people can't really pay all up front, or they want to pay in pieces, we talk about that as well. We need an updated copy of your CV, your resume. And you know what? This is really part of your leadership journey. So to put down what's most important to you on just a couple of pieces of paper, it really gives us a good feel of who you are, but it's also a very good step in your journey. And your letter of support. So this doesn't have to be from your employer. It doesn't have to be from anyone specific, but who will support your leadership journey. So lots of times we've heard from people who have mentors or a former employer or a coworker, but often we say, really look at that letter of support, because that's going to give you some language about some of your skills that you'll want to talk about through the interview process. Let me just see the next slide. Okay, so the deadline is June 12th, as we said, and then over the next couple of weeks, they're reviewed. We have 16 people right now on the selection committee. So they're alumni of the program, and you'll be getting a notification from them to book a date, and you will book an interview. Now, we always ask everybody who's applying, please just grab a half an hour with me first, because I can really ensure not only that, it's the right timing for you because it is such a commitment, but that maybe you have some of the language to move forward to the interview. The interview really isn't to weed people out. We hope that you have that confidence when you apply, and that you have enough information that it is right for you. So yeah, if we could chat, I would love to. Next slide, please. Oh, we're done. I could talk all day. Thanks for joining us. Is there any questions at all?